Hi, I'm Valerie Steffen. I'm part of the Bright MLS training team. We're all getting used to a new normal, buyers included, who with the current low inventory and pandemic conditions may be considering an offer on a property that you haven't seen in person. Here are some suggestions of where you may want to pay special attention to areas that have the potential to be costly fixes, whether you're on a virtual showing or tour, looking at photos of a property, or doing a more traditional in-person walkthrough. First things first, check the floors. Sagging, creaking, dipping, especially near bathrooms, kitchens, or laundry rooms, can be the sign of an unusual plumbing situation or long-term damage. If you notice any of those factors in other places in the house, it also potentially could be an indication of structural decline. Next, take a look at the electrical system. Even if you're not an electrician, you can keep an eye out for things like knob and tube wiring, exposed wiring, ungrounded outlets, overloaded looking electrical panels. Next, cracks. Any home is likely to have some small cracks, hairline even, in the plaster or drywall around the house. Where you might start to have some questions is where you see larger cracks, things that you can stick a fingertip or larger into, especially if they're occurring in surfaces like brickwork, masonry, or concrete. Next, think about things like water or moisture where you don't want it in a home, particularly in areas like basements or attics. It could be something obvious like standing water in a basement, or it could be something like effervescence, a little more subtle, but an indication that there's been moisture or water seeping through or standing in the basement. If you're in person, you can pay attention to your sniffer. Often there'll be a musty or funky smell where there is the presence of moisture. In ceilings, you can look for signs like bubbling paint, discolored spots or circles on the ceiling are generally an indication that there's been a leak or there's some sort of water infiltrating. Next, look for things that might be cover-ups of those types of problems. Signs of obvious new work like fresh paint, maybe where a whole wall hasn't been painted, but a specific area, again, especially on a ceiling, a drywall patch, things like that. Anything that's sort of out of keeping with the rest of the room or the rest of the property. Now, about roofs. I'm not suggesting you whip out a ladder and climb on a roof, but you can see some basic quality or condition issues, often just from standing on the ground and looking up. Look for things like the conditions of the gutters. Do they appear clogged? Is there plant life growing out of them? Are there any sagging or discolored areas? Missing shingles will give you an idea of the roof. You also, from the side, if you can see there are multiple layers of shingles, that would raise some red flags as well. Speaking of plant life, take a look at the general landscaping and upkeep around the house. If someone is not keeping up with the landscaping, it may be an indication that there are other areas of the house that are not being kept up with as well. Things like vines, ivy, wisteria, though they can be charming to look at, potentially can cause issues long-term if allowed to grow unchecked. Also pay attention to trees, particularly those that are too close to the property itself. Though they provide lovely shade, they can cause issues with upkeep, like those clogged gutters. And the roots themselves can also cause issues if they get tangled up in water lines, in the septic system. They can cause drainage issues. So something to be on the lookout for. Now, this list is not all inclusive, but hopefully it gives you an idea of some areas to pay attention to. I'm not suggesting that any one or more of these items should send you running away from a property, but it should prompt you to make sure that you are doing your due diligence in reviewing things like the seller's disclosures that are often available in the documents section in the client portal. Make sure you look carefully through photos and view virtual tours if they're available, multiple times if needed on the property. And above all, ask questions. Your real estate professional is here to help, and make sure you get those things answered by the seller. Be sure to consult with qualified professionals for home inspections, estimates, and the like. If you like this content, give us a like on YouTube and feel free to share it if you know someone who could use it. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss new content. Thanks for watching.